So we got a really special guest here. For those who don't know you or may know of you, could you please introduce yourself and what you do?
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dai Le, and I'm currently the federal member for Fowler and an electorate in southwest Sydney in New South Wales, and also the first ever Vietnamese Australian refugee to be elected and re-elected in May 2025.
What a milestone, Dai Le. What does it mean to you to build a life in Australia?
I think for me to build a life in Australia meant that I had to really work hard. First of all, to learn English because English wasn't my first language. In order growing up here, that was the first thing that I had to do to rebuild my life, and also I had to make sure that I uh, were able to integrate with the wider Australian community because Australia today is very different to when I first arrived. It was predominantly white and European background population. So I need to make sure that I can integrate and work with those diverse communities. And so for me to build a life, learn the English, learn to interact and engage with those from different cultural backgrounds to me, and learn to adapt to whatever circumstances life throws at me and whatever curveballs threw at me. So yeah, and I just make sure that I worked hard. Study wise, I wasn't the most academically gifted, but I did finish year 12. I did try to get into law, and I managed to just get into law, but I dropped out of law, and I just by accident got into journalism, which actually allowed me to build my professional career as a journalist, working first for local papers, then for the Australian Broadcasting Corporation for 20 years. So that's how I built my life in Australia.
Building a life in Australia, and let's talk about your family too. What had Australia given you and your family?
I think the greatest thing that Australia has given to not just my family, but families of migrant and refugee background, is the freedom to do what we want, the freedom to speak out, and the freedom to choose the life that we want to build. And of course, there are challenges, right? Of course, there'll be barriers. Um, there's always barriers in everything that you do. And so for me, I think that Australia is a great environment, clean. There's a system in place, there are processes in place. We have the Westminster system. There are flaws in them, but it's still good enough, and it allows me to work with the system that we have, and because we have such a free country and we're a democratic country,
Serve the people.
it serves us, it serves the community, right? And we're taught to give back, uh, you know and so I think that Australia is a very generous giving country. Despite the flaws, we are able to build the life that we want to build.
Speaking of life, what you build, is there any sacrifices that you like to share based on your own speeches where you gave a really good insight into it? Could you give us a summary for those who could not attend, unfortunately, to get more insights into it, your work?
Sure. Look, you build a life and you can create the life that you want, but doesn't mean that there aren't challenges. There are challenges, of course. English wasn't my first language, neither was my mother. So the hardship was to really, work in the kitchen, clean houses. And I remember as a journalist, even, that's a profession I work. But at the end of the week, I remember the editor of the newspaper where I worked was looking for a cleaner. So I said, I'll put up my hand clean. So I actually, on a Friday afternoon, after I've done my professional work as a journalist, in the afternoon, I go and clean the office. And so I was not scared of working hard. I was working in the restaurant, I was waitressing. And so it's not an easy journey to rebuild a life. Um, there are hardships. There are also people who discriminate against you. But then how do you not become a victim? And I worked to build my mindset so that I don't have a victim mindset. So that if anybody calls me by name or, denigrate me, I don't make it to mean that that's who I am. I just rise above that.
Stand up.
Oh, stand up or rise above it. So, yeah, rise above it means you don't let it impact you. It's like the waters of a duck's back. And journalism journalism really was an area that trained me in that, because it allows me to go out there and be rejected. So when you go and interview somebody and they said no, sometimes that's a rejection, so you feel hurt. But in journalism, it trains you to say, okay, that person says no, you need to go move to the next one, get the next talent, get the next story going. So it's about not make everything personal, but how do you use some of those challenges, turn it into opportunities to build yourself, to build a strong mindset, and to seize opportunities. And if there are no opportunities, I've always said this, and there have been doors that have been knocked back, like locked when I knocked on those doors, be it in journalism or in politics. But then I turn it around to see what are the lessons in that for me, and then use that as a springboard to improve myself or to do something different.
Lúc Đại Lê qua nước Úc, gia đình của Đại Lê hy sinh thế nào để đạt được tốt đẹp bây giờ?
Lúc mà Đài đi vượt biên á, thì cái đó là một cái rất là hy sinh rất là lớn của mẹ của Đài, của gia đình của Đài. Thì qua đây á, thì mẹ của Đài thì Đài cũng phải có kể rồi, qua đây bà hy sinh rất là nhiều, không biết tiếng Anh và bà đi làm rất là khổ, được cho con cái họ của mẹ của Đài đi học và có tương lai. Có nhiều hy sinh lắm, tại vì mình hy sinh như là mình bỏ lại gia đình, gia đình của mẹ của Đài không có ở đây, ở ai cũng ở Việt Nam tất cả. So có một mình bả ở đây thôi, được đi làm và raise ba đứa con gái, and sau này 4 đứa con gái, biết không? So she adopted another daughter. So rất là nhiều, không có cái gì mà không có gì mà dễ dàng cho mẹ của Đại trơn. So cái hy sinh là của người mẹ hơn là của mình, because I was a young person, so I did not have to make that many sacrifices. But of course, bây giờ thì Đại hy sinh cho con của Đại. So, I've got a son, so I'll try to, I made a lot of sacrifices, focus on, raising him, not just my career. And until he's old enough, then I focus on my career. Oh, half Vietnamese, half
Half
English.
Vietnamese, half English. English, that's what we're growing up with, haven't we? Rồi câu hỏi thứ hai á, là gia đình Đại Lê có những giá trị thế nào quan trọng nhất?
Cái value của Đài là, because I was raised a Catholic, cái value của Đài là basically kindness, respect. Tại vì as you know, lớn lên trong một cái nhà của người Việt Nam, gia đình Việt Nam, là cái gì là mình cũng có lễ phép.
Hiếu cha mẹ.
Yeah, có hiếu với cha mẹ, lễ phép. You always, no matter what. And that actually is a hindrance as a politician. Because that means mình không có được trả lời lại, right? Yes, that's right. So nếu mà mẹ hỏi cái gì thì nói gì, mình phải im, mình không có được nói trả lời lại, phải không? And so that was very difficult, tại vì lúc mà mình thành phóng viên á, hay là mình ra bây giờ là người đại diện cho cộng đồng á. When somebody says something, in the past you be quiet, but now I've learned là mình phải nói lên, mình phải nói có
độc
tiếng,
lập, nói tiếng lên,
nói tiếng lên, chứ không thôi mình không có im được, phải không? So cái value của Đài là hồi xưa Đài vẫn không respect, so I can speak up from a respectful tone, courteous tone, nhưng mà Đài không có im nữa, Đài không có im lặng nữa, phải không? And as an independent, mình phải nói tiếng lên. But being respectful, being humble, cái đó là rất là important, quan trọng. Cái value là cái humbleness, humility. Mình không có là lớn hơn ai hết tất cả, mình là chỉ là the same as everybody. And that's what I tell my young people, mấy người mà Đài mentor. I said to them, start with humility. It's the most important thing. If you start with humility, cái con đường go to wherever you want to go will be very successful, and it will be a long journey. Humility is the start of it.
We spoke of humility and the values as well. Going back and overall, do you have a special message for thế hệ thứ nhất, first generation, and thế hệ thứ hai, second generation? Let's start with the first generation, shall we?
God, first generation.
Perhaps Vietnamese or in English?
I think English, Vietnamese. I'm the 1.5 generation. So I wasn't born here, but for those who are born here, I think you respect your parents, but you have to also have an independent mindset to pursue what you think is best for you for the future. And if you have a conversation with your elders and express that, I encourage the first generation to express themselves and not to hold back. because we are living in a free society. So the cultural expectations of our parents and the cultural societal expectation on us will tear us apart. So we need to understand who we are first as a human being, and then our culture plays a role, our family plays a role, our friends play a role. But find out what it is that makes you full, and fulfilled. And but what should what you have to remember that is how, for me, how can I help people? That's where I come from. How can I make an impact because of my life, because of that I didn't have, because of what happened to me? Now I want to make sure that that doesn't happen again here. I don't want people to be displaced. I don't want people to come here and not learn English and not and feel helpless. I want people to feel empowered. So come from the space of how do you empower people, how do you help people for the first generation, and how do you contribute and shape the society that you want to live in. And for second generation, I don't think you can tell second generation to do anything because my son is second generation. He thinks he knows it all, but know that when you think you know it all, and if you fail, make sure that don't be arrogant about it. Be humble about it. Stand up, and dust yourself off, and start again. Know that life is not a linear life. As I said in there, it's like a spaghetti.
It's a spaghetti.
It's a spaghetti shape, and
It's
that
not roses and daisies.
no, and it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. There's nothing wrong with failures. Embrace it and walk with fear. And I always say walk with fear, walk with failures, because I tell you, it makes you humble. It makes you stronger, because at the end of it, you can't connect the dot now. You can connect the dot in years to come. The things that you're doing now, that might not make sense. I look back in my life, the things that I didn't realize that this is where it's going to lead me.
How about third and fourth generation? Those are new generations. It's spaghetti down there, please.
Are you guys going? Oh, okay. It's my husband sitting by himself. Oh, okay, poor thing. Okay, chatting away. All right. See ya. Bye, bye, bye. Third and fourth, well, you have to remember to be respectful. That's the one Vietnamese value that I would like to pass on, and I'll pass my son. Có hiếu và có lễ phép, rất là quan trọng, rất là quan trọng. Có lễ phép và có hiếu, but doesn't mean that you do everything subserviently. You need to also be courageous. You need to also be, strong and speak out. But doesn't mean that you lose respectful, có lễ phép và understanding, and knowing how to speak.
Hiểu biết, tìm hiểu người ta.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, thank you so much, Dai Le. That was a beautiful interview, and also different messages over there for Vietnamese Museum Australia. Is there anything else you'd like to share and pass on?
Well, I hope the Vietnamese Museum in Australia has great success, and that, like I said, the legacy is in each of us. I know the museum is a structure to hold those legacies, but in actual fact, we're all walking legacies. So I hope that
Beautiful insight.
we know that however long it takes to build that museum, know that we all are our own legacy, and we'll be able to share that to the rest of the country and if not the world.
Thanks so much.